Freedom of speech is an essential part of any country to be successful. Not having freedom of speech can negatively affect the country socially, politically, and economically. It is unusual that China is becoming very successful even though the people's freedom of speech is being restricted on the internet. That is why this topic is so fascinating. The People's Republic of China's government has strengthened its internet restriction policies that originally put into place in 1997. When it was instituted in the late 1990s, Sina Weibo was merely a tool that the government of China used to watch the online activities of its people. However, as the internet grew to become a tool used for revolution, such as in the Middle East, the Chinese government grew more worried about what its people would say after learning about democracy. To satisfy their fears, they enhanced Sina Weibo's strength and size. Now, through Sina Weibo, the Chinese government has enacted laws that restrict what a person may say on the websites monitored by the secret police. This restriction has made the people fearful of the internet and has discouraged and limited the freedom of speech about the Chinese government. If China continues to restrict freedom of speech, then it could impact their society, politics, and even their economy negatively. By restricting the people's use of internet and thus restricting their freedom of speech, the country of China will be impacted in a negative way. If the government of China does not change their restrictions on the internet, then the people may turn on them and the citizens may become less united and unaware of the rest of the country. When China first introduced Sina Weibo, the widespread internet was still relatively new and unused by many people. But now the internet is browsed by more than 2 billion people daily. Societies around the world use the internet to connect with one another and to learn about the world and what is happening in it. If China decides to go against what they had signed to follow, freedom of speech, then the people could see their government as incompetent and untrustworthy. After World War II, China and other major powers on the Security Council drafted and signed the Declaration of Human Rights, which said that everyone has the right to freedom of opinion and expression. This right includes freedom to hold opinions without interference and to seek, receive, and impart information and ideas through any media and regardless of frontiers. This inhibition of communication by the government of China will keep its people cut off from the world and from each other. The lack of outside communication could quite possibly lead to a falling out of Chinese understanding and what is happening in the rest of the world. In turn, this could make the Chinese people feel personally responsible for any problems the nation could face. A situation like this could present a particularly hazard predicament with the government trying to control over 1 billion people in the vast country of China. The government of China is politically manipulating their people when they restrict the internet. Without freedom of speech, people will not know of the opposing views. Also, the people might get angry and start violent riots and protests. In addition, if the Chinese government limits their people's freedom of speech on the internet, then they can politically manipulate their people. They can control what everyone in their country sees online, which means they can control how people view certain people and ideas. For example, if the government wanted everyone to hate a certain leader, they can show their country all of the bad things that person did and filter out all of the media that shows all of the good things they did. Eventually, as the censoring gets worse, the Chinese government will be able to control their people's thoughts and opinions. This would allow the leader to form a cult of personality, just like Stalin did in the Soviet Union. If the people are not shown both sides of the situation, then they cannot see which side is bad. So if they have a horrible, corrupt leader, they might not know it because they don't know anything else. This also happened in the Soviet Union. Since Stalin censored everything to do with the media, he created a perfect image of himself in the country. This caused the country to have many economic and social problems that were hidden and unknown to the people of the Soviet Union. This same situation could happen in China if the government continues to censor the internet. The people of China will not be able to know about the social and economic problems in their own country. Also, if they are not shown different views from the outside world, then they will not be able to critique their own government and fix the issues in it. Eventually, if the people realize how the government is censoring and controlling their internet use, then they may revolt. This could cause a big conflict in China because there could be violent protests against the government. Also, if the government and the military responds violently as well, that could lead to even bigger conflicts over how violent and suppressive the military is. By limiting the freedom of speech in China, the government is creating political problems which can lead to social and economic problems as well. If the Chinese internet continues to be censored, it could lead to huge problems for their economy, since there is no way to get out ideas. With this, their economy may plummet and fail. Globalization is key to having a successful economy. Technology is used to spread information and to connect countries to one another. With globalization, countries around the world are interdependent. This interdependence is key since the United States is a huge investor in China's growing economy. Without technology, China will not be able to keep up and globalize. Technology is needed to get ideas out and to see the new trends. The government is mainly censoring the internet from opinions, but that is what they're going to need to help their economy. New products are made and modified based on the customers' and consumers' opinion. Now, with the help of technology, people with vlogs and blogs control the consumer world. They hold the opinion, and many people that follow them are influenced by their sayings. China needs to stop restricting the internet because they need to hear what people think. If they don't hear people's opinions or thoughts, then new products will not be made and products will not be altered. If this happens, then people will not want to buy any longer. Many companies may falter and soon go out of business, leaving China in debt. Technology has also provided the world with online shopping. With many people having jobs, it is hard to find time to go out and shop. Online shopping is a great tool. If China wants to expand its economy even more, they need to stop restricting the internet. The internet provides a quick and fast way to get what the consumer wants without having to leave their home or their workplace. Without restrictions, producers can get their service and product out and help the Chinese economy. If it goes to the extremes, many countries may put an embargo on China. Many democratic countries have put on embargoes on oppressive countries, such as the United States did with Cuba. This is a political move, but it also affects the economy immensely. If this were to happen, the embargo would cause the flow of income to decrease for China. All in all, China will face difficulties in the long run if they keep restricting their citizens' rights. The Chinese government has restricted the ability and strengthened the limitation on internet usage, and the after effects of the new laws will resonate and could potentially cause problems for their society, politics, and economy. Socially, the people of China will not be able to keep up with other citizens of China and will be behind from the rest of the world. Likewise, should the world change, the Chinese people will be lost as to what is happening, which could prove to be problematic for the rest of the world. Politically, they will struggle because there could be more revolts due to the government's inability to address concerns presented to it. The economy will falter because producers will not be able to get their product out and see what to fix and what to produce next. The failure of companies to seek out new and expanding markets will provide the basis for economic stagnation, and China will miss out on opportunities that they could have taken advantage of. For China to effectively function in the modern world, they need to change their laws regarding the internet and online regulations, relaxing them to allow the people to voice concerns about anything the country could face.